Well, the influx of migrants being felt in downstate communities, a headline from thecentersquare.com/Illinois. Be sure to check that page out daily. Not just what's going on in Illinois, but across the country. You'll be able to stay plugged into a whole host of things going on. But of course, the ongoing issues being highlighted by state legislators yesterday, talking about a measure that they're wanting to advance to essentially end the State's Trust Act. And what that is, it's a measure that was approved years ago that ultimately would say that local law enforcement cannot enforce federal immigration law if that's the only thing that federal immigration law enforcers are going against an individual. So it can't be the sole reason for local law enforcement to help out immigration customs enforcement, for instance. So you had Republican lawmakers at the Illinois State House wanting to essentially repeal the Trust Act. And that particular provision, a lot of people see that as what makes Illinois a sanctuary state. But obviously the impacts being felt on a local level with the busing situation out of Chicago and how communities are being impacted there. But you also have a whole host of other headlines that I definitely want to highlight here, as far as some of the other things going on with the migrant situation, including a pretty wild story from WTTW. And you can see this simply by checking out the WTTW page for more updates. But they got an exclusive on the outbreak of illness at one of the migrant centers. They knew about exposed pipes with raw sewage, cockroach infestations, and these are emails that WTTW obtained showing that the City of Chicago Mayor's Office were warned about this on October 28th, weeks before a migrant child passed away. So that's an interesting headline. You've also got in New Lenox some mayors saying they're not going to attend the Chicago mayor's meeting on migrants. They were going to have a sort of what would you consider that? Just not a meeting, but a roundtable, a conversation, a retreat of sorts, which is a weird way of thinking about it. But clearly there's some apprehension there. But you also have on the other side, while some mayors are trying to get measures passed to block buses or to refuse tax dollars for taking care of migrants, you've got other areas like in Highland Park, they're organizing individuals to provide aid packages for migrants arriving from Texas. So clearly some different approaches being taken. And also you've got a delay in the number of various shelters where migrants can stay. There's a 60-day shelter limit, as WBEZ is reporting, and that is being delayed because, of course, the frigid temperatures. But all of the migrant situation, it's clearly taking a toll, and it's costing not just humanitarian issues, but also tax dollars. And Governor J.B. Pritzker yesterday putting out this note for local communities to tap into various taxpayer dollars. Total of $17 million going to go towards building capacity outside of Chicago with Illinois Welcoming Centers and Immigrant Family Resource Program. So I'll just read a little bit from this. $17 million going towards building capacity outside of Chicago, and additional funding for municipalities to support asylum seekers. This is in response to the more than 38,000 new arrivals sent to Illinois by Texas since 2022. But listen, I mean, just to take a step back here, the communities in Texas getting inundated with millions of non-citizen migrants. And to say asylum, these are asylum seekers, yes, but they're still, like a probationary period before they even have their asylum hearing. And it would be interesting to see, and I heard one individual yesterday, State Senator Andrew Chesney, during his news conference, talk about the rate of people who are saying they're seeking asylum actually being granted asylum. And he indicated that number of those who are denied is in excess of 50%. I think he went all the way up to 80%. I don't have those statistics in front of me, though. But regardless, let's get back to the governor's announcement here of additional funds. It says these funds will be utilized to build capacity for various new shelters. State's continuing to support the city of Chicago with direct funding as well as funding to support the overall asylum seeker response, and is launching the latest round of funding to advance a shared goal. So $160 million is where some of these funds are going to come from. Funds being made possible for municipalities to provide direct services to new arrivals who have fled their homes to escape violence and so on. The governor saying in a statement, the new fund, it builds on the commitment of the state to support Illinois cities that are stepping up to help asylum seekers, as we continue to call for further federal support, and as Illinois takes a stand against the callous ways Texas Governor Greg Abbott's using human beings as political pawns. These grants will lend support where it's needed throughout the state. So, again, additional funding for municipalities, $11 million is going to be available exclusively to municipalities outside of Chicago. You've got that $11 million for municipalities included in the total of more than $40 million in 2023 that went to municipalities. So clearly there's an effort here. Plus, Illinois Welcoming Centers getting $4 million for 13 welcoming centers across the state. An additional $2 million going to the Immigrant Family Resources Program, which offers additional support for helping meet existing needs and building capacity for future needs. So again, just some of the outline here from the governor's office when it comes to additional taxpayer funding. Yesterday at the Illinois General Assembly, there was not a committee hearing that touched on this extra spending. You got to keep in mind, too, this extra spending, all part of the ongoing disaster proclamations that the governor has made for the state of Illinois. 18 now monthly disaster proclamations saying that the state of Illinois is a disaster because of the ongoing migrant crisis. So wanted to keep you posted on that as we continue to track all that's happening in the state of Illinois, especially when it comes to the ongoing migrant situation. So like, subscribe, follow along, hit that notification bell, follow me on X, on Facebook, and elsewhere. Check out the website, bishoponair.com. Check out some merchandise too if you want to support my efforts here, just doing this in my home while I'm on my own time, getting ready to head into my full-time gig, which is where I got to head off to now. So again, appreciate everybody tuning in. Be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell.